The University of Cambridge Primary School is the first university training school for primary in the UK, and there are three parts to that vision really. The first would be a brilliant primary school, the second to support initial teacher education with the Faculty of Education, and the third is to become a research centre to develop research-generated practice and research-informed practice. There are three aspects to our vision: to be ambitious for all children, to be innovative in our practice, imaginative and creative, and to be a school that's truly inclusive, where everyone feels welcome and valued. And sitting underneath those three aspects of the vision are 5 values of empathy, respect, trust, courage and gratitude. And this is the way that we hope all children and our community to engage with one another. The school is a relatively new school built in 2015 as part of the university's development called Eddington, which is the northwest part of Cambridge. The school is a state-funded school and is not funded by the university, and there is no additional places for university members of staff. Please have a look at our website for the admissions criteria. Our governors consist of members of the university and also members of the community, as well as 2 parent governors and a staff governor. Mr. Hayward, who's one of our assistant heads, and I will show you around our school. This is a first look, walking around the inner circle towards the reception classrooms. So Mr. Hayward, tell us a little bit about what it would be like for reception children. What's distinctive about us?
Well, one distinction is that there are no packed lunches in school, so every child across the school will have a hot dinner, and for reception that is there's no cost to that.
And also that we only have transition days for reception, so it's a really slow start to really help them through that transition into school.
Yeah, we're really proud of our success of how children do start with us, and for the first week we will have half days where the children are in either the mornings or the afternoons.
And what do we mean by having no wet plays?
Well, of course we're still subject to experiencing rain, however we will ask the children to go out in all weather. However, even if it is torrential, we are so fortunate here to have many under-shelter covers so children can still get outside, stay fairly dry and still experience some outdoor air.
So there's no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing?
Absolutely.
Some of our learning principles are that we want children to be at the heart of all that we do. We want children to have a voice in their own learning, and that learning doesn't stop at the end of a classroom or a school day, but it actually engages in their life outside school. We want children to have choice. We don't have any labelling of children's abilities. We don't have set classes at all, so that everything is done in a mixed learning way. And we want children to be inquirers, researchers, deep thinkers, visionaries, problem solvers and imaginers. In the next slide you'll see Mr. Hayward, our assistant head teacher who's responsible for early years, explaining what it's like in reception.
Hello, my name's Mr. Hayward. I support on leading the early years team. I just thought I'd inform you on how the early years classrooms work. So we have 3 classrooms. And we call them nests in early years, so each child will be assigned a nest, and that's where they are welcomed in the morning, where they will leave at the end of the day, and they have their nest teacher, and that teacher looks after their whole being at school, so they will ensure they're making progress in their learning, but also is a key connection for you as well to talk to. And in each of the nest classrooms there is a theme. So for example, in our pumpkins room it's all about science and exploratory and construction. In the acorn nest there's a lot about language development and role play. And in the 3rd classroom, Sunflowers room, there's all the messy play and music and water and exploratory play in that sense. And throughout the day, the children can go into whichever room they decide. So sometimes they have focused learning time with their nest teacher in their nest room, and other times they have a free flow and can go where their heart desires.
see from the table on your screen that the reception year is a bit of an in-between year between nursery and starting primary school. So in reception, they are still assessed using the Early Years Foundation Stage Profile, known as the EYFS, which is what your children will be doing in their preschool year at nursery. And however, this now takes place at a primary school where they are not quite learning on the national curriculum, but they will be when they start into year 1.
So this is one of our reception classes. We'll go and see what's going on inside. I think this is the science area.
It's slicing.
And this is our outside area. We have a generous space here, and children are playing in the sand pits, and different zones are constructed. This is a construction area here. But you can see it's very fortunate to have a nice space.
So how does this work at our school? Well, it's very similar to many nursery setups where the children can choose the provision and the area of learning that they want to go to. However, each child does have a nest room and a nest teacher. This means that at key points of the day, such as the start of the day, the close of the day, and particular learning times such as circle time, story time, or literacy and numeracy teaching inputs, they'll be with their nest teacher in their nest class. So each child will be allocated nests such as pumpkins, sunflowers, and acorns. And that means that you and your child will have a key nest teacher, which is a bit like a key worker at nursery, and that person will be your point of call for any questions or any information that you wish to share about your child. You can do that with your nest teacher. So here, hopefully you can see how that will work. The highlighted green areas are when the children will be in their nests. So as you can see, the registration, the very beginning of the day when they're coming together as a nest team. And then they have some playful learning time, maybe group learning time, where they can be with wherever they like to go and wherever their interests may be. And then they would come back together for phonics, and then they have a bit more playful learning afterwards. So you can see that there are many times when they are in their nest, but also there's opportunities for them to choose the areas of learning that they're really interested in. All children will get one-to-one or small group work, guided support throughout their day in between their learning free choice.
Well, we've just finished reception now, so let's go and see what else is happening around the school. We'll go to year 1 and year 2 first, which we're trying to make a playful experience as well. Here are some children playing outside in year 1, doing some outdoor learning, and then this is one of the classrooms. This is one of the classrooms, and we're heading into the Learning Street now. So the Learning Street is a space in which children can come and take part in other types of learning. Some challenges. Here's a typical classroom, slightly different because of COVID risk assessments. But the principle is that children are given autonomy to come and learn and play in these spaces. Here's a teacher doing some one-to-one feedback with her class, dressed as a bumblebee because the class name is called Bumblebees. This is the beginnings of an orchard, and then through here we have a forest school. Our forest is still quite sapling, but it is growing nicely, and in a few years' time will be an ancient forest, we hope. So children come out here most weeks, but it's on a timetable basis because we are a large school with when your children come here, if they come here, will be 600 children. But you can see we are very fortunate to have this lovely space. So we do meditation here. We also have forest school where children come and learn about nature, how to use tools well, how to care for nature as well. So in essence, although we are a research-informed school and will draw from the best research of the university and other places, we will meet the expectations of the national curriculum. We're held to account by Ofsted. Our first inspection ever was an outstanding judgment, and we're very proud of where we got to in 2.5 years. But we'll never be the finished article, and we're always striving to improve and become our better best. But I've shown you some of the spaces around the school. Mr. Hayward, who's currently our Special Educational Needs and Disability Coordinator, do you have any reflections about parents, for parents who might be making some decisions at this point?
Sure, yeah. I mean, my key message would be is to think about your child's individual needs, because of course each child with additional needs, they'll be different to one another. And think about that open plan environment, think about how busy and learning the rest of the children and the community will be, and whether that is right for your child. Of course, for some children that's perfect, that's exactly the development that they need in interacting with others, and for others it could be quite a busy environment. So if you have any questions, do feel free about that to contact the school, where I would be happy to have a conversation with you.
You'll probably note there's lots of building work happening around the school still. And that really is important to note, that there's very, very little parking around the school building. There's no school car park. So we encourage families to bring their children to school in more sustainable ways through bikes or walking to school. We are incredibly fortunate to have such a positive group of parents who in our first year set up an organisation called Focus, the Friends of Cambridge University School. It's like the Parent Teacher Association. And through partnership with the school, have been able to raise funds for the school and also create memories for our children. And we hope to build up trusting relationships with our parents, because learning and education is a partnership between families. Parents are the first educators of children, and the educators within school, with a different, obviously a different focus, but working in partnership for the best outcome for all children. And we believe that we're both accountable for success, so we really ask and seek support from parents, as well as parents seeking support from the teachers within the school. We are all in this together because we want all children to have the most amazing experience of primary school, to set them up for a positive secondary school experience and indeed for life. We know that if you're sending your children to school for the first time, it can be quite a daunting experience, and there's a lot of bureaucracy and form filling. And anxiety as you wait to see whether your child's been accepted or not into the school of your choice. We work with the local authority and we buy into their service, so they manage all our admissions for reception. So please direct your queries to them for any practical matters. But if there's anything in particular about our school, please do drop us a line at inquiries@universityprimaryschool.org.uk. You can see that on our website. Wherever you choose to send your children, we hope that it's an amazing start for them, and thank you for your time and interest in our school.